Well, my brother-in-law was in the fire service at the time and recommended that I put my name down when the next position came up. But me being me and not a child that dreamt of being a firefighter, didn't really consider it. So it took him 3 attempts over a period of 3 or 4 weeks, and finally just put my hand up and put my application forward after, like I said, those few weeks, just to keep him quiet, basically. There were 3 personal interviews through the board members, and after that, you were chosen or you were rejected, as they say, and move on and stay doing what you're doing. But no, it was good. Back then, it was a good system. Yeah, trades were a very important leg into the service back then. It wasn't a written criteria, but I know that was a very strong consideration that the boards used back in the day, yes. Whether it was a carpenter, mechanic, brickie, as long as you're good with your hands and you're reasonably strong and fit. That was, I think, the way of thinking. And I knew I had to give it a red-hot crack because I had a newborn daughter way back then that with very little other work around in the building trades at the time, I knew I had to move forward and be successful, and I just grew with it, I suppose. It was a more very regimented, I believe, than what it is now. It was a very important thing to be very respectful to your senior officers, as I believe it is anyway in any role. But back then we had the chief officer and deputy chief that lived on site above in the residence above the actual station, along with their wives and at sometimes their children as well. So we had to be not only very respectful of our senior officers but also of their family. Not a bad thing, but at the time, training was regimented and certain times were set aside and you had to be there, had to do it the way they wanted, even if you think it was a stupid idea. That didn't matter. It was a yes or no situation. The veterans, look, just a wealth of knowledge, gave you scenarios to expect along the way. Gave you the heads up on who to believe and who not to believe. When alarm bells ring, you think, oh, hang on, is this guy having a go at me or not? But they were very good with giving you some background knowledge in it. They helped a lot with a lot of the older model trucks and fire engines, etc. They were good trainers in that regard, and also lots of local knowledge when it come to business houses and older streets in the area that you might not be familiar with. Usually someone in the crew could pretty well go straight there. I never doubted everyone's ability to either save me or, if in the event I got in trouble, I never doubted that. All the guys that I knew in the job were all truthful. There was no even thought of anyone having to hide anything because, most incidences are investigated. After about 16, 17 years in the Bundaberg Station, great start, great grounding. I had an opportunity to be transferred to the Gold Coast region. There was a guy there that wanted to transfer to Bundaberg region. So I put my hand up basically as a bit of a direction change. And a similar time, just prior to that, got involved with the urban search and rescue, which is the natural disaster and terrorism side of firefighting. And there is a role. We work closely once again with paramedics and the police service, in the background. I was lucky enough to get a posting to Surface Paradise for about 5 years, which then I had 2 years after that at Burleigh Heads in that area, and then had a pretty large role with bushfire and mainly car accidents on the M1 stationed out of Robina. It built a lot of confidence for me, all right? And some of the things you thought you would never do or be a part of, or things that you thought you would not survive, and you do, that it's changes your mind on and not your mind, but your perspective on a lot of things in life. I was blessed to meet some wonderful people, and a lot of people, those guys do a lot of work for charity in the background that a lot of people don't know about. And like the fact that my family was brought up in a good environment, surrounded by good people, all right, whenever there was any fire service related events, the children were always invited, Christmas parties, those type of things. So they, like I said, it helped them as well. So the best part, the camaraderie was fabulous. lifelong friends, which I'm blessed. I got them all over the state and the country as well, through my bit more diverse part of the job with the urban search and rescue. And been trained in Melbourne and Brisbane, and a lot of those guys rub shoulders, with a lot of people that you think you don't know, but you do. You see faces in some jobs, and then you finally one day get to put a name to it, and you just build such a group of friends.